This letter was never opened. For 73 years, it remained sealed. And when someone finally broke that seal, everything changed. The envelope is yellowed now, fragile, the edges soft with age and handling, the paper thin enough to see shadows through it when held to light. There's a name written on the front, just a first name, Sarah. The ink has faded to brown. The handwriting is careful, deliberate. The kind of writing someone does when they know the words matter. In the top right corner, there's a stamp. A 3-cent stamp from 1952. It was never postmarked. This letter was never mailed. The envelope sits in an archive now, protected behind glass, cataloged, preserved, available for researchers to request and examine under supervision. But for 73 years, it sat somewhere else, in a drawer, in a house, in a town where everyone knew everyone's name, sealed, unread, waiting. The letter was found in 2025, an estate sale. A house being emptied after its owner died. No children, no close family, just distant relatives sorting through a lifetime of belongings, deciding what to keep and what to sell. Most of it was ordinary: furniture, dishes, clothing, books, the accumulated objects of a long life lived quietly. But in a desk drawer beneath old bills and receipts and forgotten papers, someone found a wooden box. Small, plain, no lock, just a simple latch. Inside were letters, dozens of them, some opened, some still sealed, all addressed to the same person, Sarah. But one letter was different. It wasn't addressed to Sarah, it was from her, and it had never been sent. The person who found it didn't open it, not at first. They knew somehow that this was something private, something that had been kept hidden deliberately. But the name on the envelope meant nothing to them. Sarah, just a name, no last name, no address, no way to know who she was or who this letter was meant for. They posted about it online. A mystery, an old letter, does anyone know? And someone did, a historian, someone who specialized in local history, small town stories, the kind of history that doesn't make it into textbooks. They recognized the name, not Sarah, the name of the person whose house it was, Margaret. Margaret had lived in that house for 60 years. She died at 94. Alone, quiet. A woman everyone in town knew, but no one really knew. And this letter, this sealed letter, had been in her possession all those years. Written by someone named Sarah, but never sent. The historian asked permission to open it, to read it, to document it. The family agreed. They didn't know what else to do with it. It was just an old letter. It couldn't hurt anyone now. So the seal was broken, carefully, with gloves and tools and a camera recording every moment. And inside, on a single sheet of paper, were words that had been hidden for 73 years. The letter began simply, "Margaret, I'm sorry." That's all the first line said, "I'm sorry." Then it continued, the handwriting smaller now, more hurried, as if the words were spilling out faster than the hand could keep up. "I'm sorry I couldn't tell you in person. I'm sorry I'm doing this in a letter. I'm sorry for what I'm about to do." The next paragraph explained. Sarah was leaving, not just leaving town. Leaving everything, her family, her home, the life she'd built. She didn't say why, not directly, but the words suggested something. Fear, shame, desperation. "I can't stay here anymore. You know why? Everyone will know soon, and I can't face that. I can't face them. I can't face you." Then she wrote about Margaret. How they'd known each other since childhood, how Margaret was the only person who really knew her, the only person she could be honest with. "You're the only one I'll miss. The only one I wish I could take with me, but I can't. And you can't come, you have your own life, your own family, your own future." The letter ended with a request. "Don't look for me, don't try to find me, let me go, forget me, live your life, be happy." And then at the bottom, just her name, Sarah. The historian read the letter 3 times. Then they began to research. Who was Sarah? Where did she go? What happened to her? And more importantly, why did Margaret keep this letter sealed for 73 years? The town records from 1952 were incomplete, fragmentary, but enough remained to piece together some of the story. Sarah was real. Sarah Miller, born in 1930, lived in the same town as Margaret. They'd been friends, close friends, inseparable according to one old newspaper clipping that mentioned them at a school event. But in 1952, Sarah disappeared. Not dramatically, not mysteriously, just quietly. One day she was there, the next day she wasn't. Her family said she'd gone to live with relatives in another state. No one questioned it. In 1952, young women left small towns all the time, for work, for marriage, for new opportunities. But there was no record of where she went, no forwarding address, no letters sent home, no visits. She just vanished. And Margaret never spoke of her again. The historian interviewed people who had known Margaret. Most were dead now, but a few remained, elderly, their memories hazy, but they remembered. Margaret had been quiet, reserved. She never married, never left town. She worked as a librarian for 40 years, lived alone, kept to herself. Some people thought she was cold, others thought she was sad. No one really knew. But one person remembered something. An old woman, 96 now, who had been Margaret's neighbor for 30 years. She said Margaret used to sit on her porch in the evenings, just sitting, staring at nothing. And sometimes late at night, she'd hear Margaret crying. Not loud, just quiet sobs through the walls for years, decades. And then one day the crying stopped. The neighbor didn't know when, just that at some point the sound stopped, and Margaret went on living, quietly. Alone, the historian tried to find Sarah. They searched records, census data, marriage licenses, death certificates, immigration documents, nothing. Sarah Miller disappeared in 1952 and left no trace. Either she changed her name, or she died, or she simply vanished into a life no one documented. Whatever happened to her, she's lost to history now. But the letter remains, so the questions linger. Why did Margaret keep the letter sealed? She could have read it. She could have known Sarah's final words to her. She could have understood why Sarah left, but she chose not to. For 73 years, she kept that letter in her possession. She moved it from place to place. She kept it safe, but she never opened it. Why? Some people think Margaret was angry, that she didn't want to hear Sarah's excuses, that the sealed letter was an act of rejection. Others think she was afraid, that reading the letter would make the loss too real, that as long as it stayed sealed, some part of Sarah remained unknown, mysterious, still possible. And others think she already knew, that Sarah had told her in person before she left. That the letter was just a formality, a goodbye written on paper that Margaret didn't need to read because she'd already heard it. But no one knows for certain, because Margaret never told anyone. She carried whatever she knew, whatever she felt, in silence for 94 years. Now think about what that means. Think about holding onto something for 73 years, keeping it close, protecting it, but never opening it, never letting yourself know what's inside. Living with the weight of that choice every single day, wondering, maybe, or maybe not wondering at all, maybe just accepting that some things are better left unknown. Margaret lived her entire adult life with that sealed letter in her possession. She could have destroyed it, thrown it away, burned it, but she didn't. She kept it, as if it mattered. As if Sarah still mattered, even after decades, even after a lifetime of silence. The letter has been analyzed now, studied, discussed. Historians debate what it means, what Sarah was running from, what happened between her and Margaret. Some suggest Sarah was pregnant, unmarried, facing shame in a small 1950s town where that meant social death. Others suggest something darker, abuse, violence, a secret she couldn't speak out loud. And some suggest something else entirely, that Sarah and Margaret were more than friends, that in 1952, in a small conservative town, love between two women was impossible, dangerous, unspeakable, that Sarah left to protect herself, to protect Margaret, that the letter was an apology for loving someone she couldn't be with, and that Margaret kept it sealed because opening it would force her to confront a truth she could never act on, a love she could never acknowledge. But these are just theories, interpretations based on fragments, on silences, on absences. The truth died with both of them. What we know for certain is this: two women knew each other, were close, shared something. One left, wrote a letter, never sent it. The other kept that letter, sealed, for 73 years. Both lived long lives, both died alone, and neither ever spoke of the other publicly. But the letter existed, kept, protected, hidden, as if it contained something too precious to destroy and too painful to read. The letter sits in an archive now. Researchers can request to see it. They wear gloves. They handle it carefully. They read Sarah's words. They study the handwriting. They analyze the paper and ink. But they can't answer the questions that matter most. What did Margaret feel when she held this letter? Did she ever come close to opening it? Did she regret keeping it sealed? Or was the sealed envelope itself a kind of comfort, a piece of Sarah she could keep forever? Unchanged, unfinished, we'll never know. There's something devastating about a letter that was never opened. It's a conversation that never happened, a goodbye that was never received, a truth that was never acknowledged. It exists in a state of permanent suspension. The words are there, waiting, but they were never heard. And now, 73 years later, they've been read by strangers, by historians, by people who never knew Sarah or Margaret. But the person they were meant for never read them, and that changes everything. Because Sarah wrote those words believing Margaret would read them. She poured her heart onto paper thinking it would reach the one person who mattered. But it didn't. Margaret chose silence. She chose not to know, and we can't know if that was cruelty or kindness, self-protection or punishment. We can only know she made that choice and lived with it for the rest of her life. Sometimes people keep things sealed because opening them would require action, response, change. And sometimes people aren't ready for that, or they can't face it, or they know that once something is known, it can't be unknown. Maybe Margaret understood that reading Sarah's words would break something inside her, something she'd spent years building, a wall, a defense, a way of surviving. And maybe keeping the letter sealed was the only way she could keep living, keep functioning, keep moving forward through a life that looked normal from the outside but felt hollow from within. Or maybe it's simpler than that. Maybe Margaret was just hurt. Sarah left without saying goodbye in person. She wrote a letter and disappeared. And maybe Margaret couldn't forgive that, couldn't let go of the anger, the betrayal, the abandonment, so she kept the letter as a reminder of what Sarah did, of what Sarah took from her. A sealed envelope holding words she would never honor with her attention, but she couldn't throw it away either, because that would mean letting go completely. And she wasn't ready for that, so it stayed, sealed, kept close for 73 years. Now the letter is public. Sarah's words have been read, transcribed, analyzed, written about. The privacy she and Margaret shared, the secret they carried, has been exposed. People who never knew them discuss their lives, speculate about their relationship, debate what really happened, and there's something unsettling about that. These were real people with real pain, real loss, real secrets, and now those secrets are out there. not because they chose to share them, but because time passed, they died. And someone opened a drawer. What would Margaret think if she knew? Would she be horrified that the letter was finally opened? Or would she be relieved? Maybe she kept it sealed not for herself, but for Sarah, to protect Sarah's secret, to keep her words private, to honor the trust Sarah placed in her even as she left. Maybe Margaret spent 73 years guarding something that wasn't meant for anyone else's eyes, and now it's been seen by everyone. The letter changed everything, not for Sarah, not for Margaret. They're both gone, but for the people who found it, who read it, who tried to understand it. It opened a window into a past that was almost forgotten. It revealed that beneath the surface of ordinary lives, there are stories, complex, painful, unresolved, stories that people carry in silence, stories that never get told, until someone finds a letter or a photograph or an object that doesn't make sense and starts asking questions. But even now, with the letter opened and read, we don't have answers. We have Sarah's words. But we don't have Margaret's response. We have the question, but not the reply. We have one half of a conversation that never happened, and the other half died with Margaret, unspoken, unknown. The letter sits in its archive box, preserved, protected, available for study, but something about it feels wrong. As if by opening it, we violated something sacred. As if Margaret's choice to keep it sealed was itself meaningful. And by undoing that choice, we erased part of the story. The part where silence mattered more than words, where not knowing was a kind of knowing, where a sealed envelope was an answer in itself. And so the letter remains, read now, but still mysterious. Known now, but still unknowable. The words are clear, but the truth behind them will never be, because truth isn't just what's written, it's what's felt, what's chosen, what's lived with. And that died with Margaret in her quiet house at 94, alone, with a sealed letter in her drawer. A letter she kept for 73 years and never opened. Some stories remain unfinished. If you want to uncover more, stay with this journey.